take up item 7. Complete item 7, presentation discussion of the updated report by the Director of Electric Utilities or his designee regarding customer service, business center practices, procedures, and policies, customer concerns and complaints, billing forms and procedures, and the LPL staffing and performance. Mr. McCullough.
Okay, so a moment ago you asked a question, and I'll respond to that. This has been a big challenge for us, is convincing folks that they have actually used the water or the electricity that the meter showed that they used. So there's a number of things that we do. First of all, customer challenges that they didn't use that much. First thing we do is go reread the meter, and generally, sometimes we find that we misread the meter. Other times we find out that it was a good reading. And then in those cases, if it's a large amount of increase from what they had before, we refer it to the water department, and they'll go out and do a water survey. They'll go inside the house, look for leaking toilets. Sometimes it's leaking irrigation system. There's a number of things that they look at. They do a very good job in these water surveys to try to identify any anomalies in piping. Sometimes that doesn't convince them either. I mean, you have intermittent leaks, toilet leaks that occur for a while and clear up, and then come back, or other sources of usage that are unidentified by that survey. So those are very challenging. One of the things that we're doing as part of this AMI project is we're going to do a pilot on the water meters. We've got tentative agreement from the city manager to do a small pilot of water meters, and I think the idea behind that is to see if they gain enough useful information to actually go forward with the significant investment that's required to do water meters. And the thing about AMI water meters is that it'll give you usage by interval, and you can see sudden spikes or certain times of high usage, and customers can maybe look at that information and say, "Oh yeah, I know what happened during that time frame." So that kind of information, short of having that kind of information, the interval information, we're going to be in the same shape that we are. And I don't know of any other solutions to the problem where customer challenges the fact that we first of all read the meter and read it correctly and didn't artificially adjust the numbers, other than continue to do what we're doing, just convincing folks one at a time that we actually are reading meters.
I know that's going to be a huge data storage issue. I guess it creates a contemporaneous record of every meter.
Right.
So obviously take 24 hours a day.
Right.
So, yes, sir.
Mr. Rodriguez, I mean, he apparently on several properties, what he said was for the benefit of people came in, is he had a 4-unit property that 3 months in a row, his water cost was to the penny exactly the same. I mean, obviously it's something.
Well, then
he said when he calls them out, they always say to me, he said he didn't even bother with it because it cost him more time. He just doesn't want to mess with it. He just pays the bill, but he knows something isn't right.
Right. And we have other complaints along those lines. A couple will say, well, we were gone for 2 months or something like that, but our usage stayed where it was. Well, it's very hard to counter information like that that's coming from the customer. All we can do is read the meter and record what it says and bill it on that basis. So, but that's where interval information would really be.
Exactly, because they know they're calling, there's some spike and something's leaking, or there's a bad meter or something.
And on the issue with the same, bill from month to month, we have to keep in mind we round up to the 1,000 gallons, and so you could use 500 gallons or you could use 999 gallons, and you're still going to get charged for the 1,000 gallons. And so so you can have the same amount. If you're using 6,000 gallons a month, you may not be using exactly 6,000, but so you could have the exact same water portion of your bill from month to month, due to that rounding issue. So, and that's something we've had to explain that to some folks. Some other things we've done is, there's a video on the water department's website that we have links to that shows you how to read your own water meter. We also have on how to read your own electric meter, which is a little bit more difficult on the dial, but we've encouraged customers to, if you're concerned about, if we're doing it right, then, we can give them, and I know they probably don't want to get dirty and dig down into the cockroach infested, water meter or bee infested or whatever, but But there is that option as well before we go to AMI. But, so there's some things we can do. You know, there's, and again, those water meters are cumulative reads. And so, you know, if the read on your bill matches what's on your statement, for the most part, you know, we're very close. We may miss it from month to month on occasion, but it is cumulative, just like your, you know, odometer. Over time, it's going to catch itself up.
Andy, you might talk a little bit about the rate change that's going to happen in January. How that might help us a little bit.
Mr. Odom had a question.
I just have a question. I just want to say that on the water meter, and I know what Rodriguez was talking about, and it happened to me personally, and that's why I don't think our answer can always just be, well, the meter, that's what it says, that's what's done, because whenever I put a well in at my house, and it happened the same way that did, was 2 years, you know, for 2 years ago, and it could go along just like what he said, till June, then it's back up a little bit, July, it's back up in August, and I was watering it through a well system, and then we came in and placed a new meter in it, and it corrected it all, and now there is 4,000, 6,000 gallons, cumulatively always what it is. But I don't think our answer can just be, well, that's what it is, and that's what it says. We've got to somehow back to what their answers were, customer service, and figure out what the actual cause of what it is, because I do think there's something more there than just, oh, it's backing up.
And we understand that too. And we send folks out to test those meters when we have instances that look kind of bizarre like that. But for the most part, water meters over time slow down. They don't speed up. And would be very unusual, if not unheard of, for it to actually speed up as it ages. And so that's typically not the issue. Typically, as the meter ages, you're going to get billed for less than you're actually using. But to David's point, in January, you know, the council approved the change to the water rate structure where we've been on the average winter consumption rate for water for a long time, and it's very confusing. It's very difficult to explain that, you know, at least on where you fall on your tiers. And I don't, you know, what it does is it takes a number of months in the winter season that becomes your average winter usage, and so anytime you're within that usage level, you get charged the lowest rate. But anytime you go outside of that, there's different blocks that you get charged punitively, you know, as you're going above that. So your winter consumption could be 6,000 gallons. Your next door neighbor could be 20,000 gallons, and your other next door neighbor could be 1,000 gallons. And y'all would all be charged at that lowest rate on the 20 or the 7 or the 1,000 gallons. And anytime that one guy went to the 21,000, they get to the block 2. Or if you go to 7,000, you go to block 2. Or your neighbor goes to 2,000, they go to block 2. So it was difficult to explain to the public. And so the council changed it where there's just 4 standard blocks. And so I think it's like from 1,000 gallons to, Jamie, do you know what the blocks are? 1,000.
Well, the first one's free, right?
Well, 0 to 1,000 is free. Then 1,000 to like 7,000 or 8,000, or I don't remember exactly. But so everybody gets charged in the block 1 rate if you're using between 1 and say 8, and then your block 2 from 8 to 15 or whatever those ranges are. But so it's going to be a lot more straightforward. Everyone, your neighbors are all going to be on the same. You know, your neighbor who uses 20,000 gallons is going to be paying a whole lot. You know, all the time, and you're gonna, you know, you'll be saving if you're within that block 1. So,
but in the example of 8 to 15, if you use 8 or 14, you're going to pay the same.
Same rate per 1,000 gallons. That's correct. Right. So I think it's a little bit of simplification going forward, at least in trying to explain to people why am I paying this much, you know, and my neighbor happens to be not, you know, they're paying less per 1,000 gallons, you know, at a different level. So I think there'll be some clearing up of that. It's been difficult to explain to the customers.
You'll pay based on your actual.
Yeah, and everybody's kind of on the same playing field.
That doesn't explain the example of Rodriguez where you have the exact same dollar amount.
Well, I mean, still, no, well, I mean, you're still gonna, if you're billed at 6,000 gallons 2 months in a row, your water bill is gonna be identical for that one customer.
If you're rounding up to the nearest thousand.
Right.
Oh, it's rounded.
It's rounded.
And
So
8 to 15. If I use 8 or I use 14.
no. In the we just round up to the nearest 1,000 gallons. And so that really has nothing to do with the block rates that I was just talking about. That just really has to do with the reads from month to month. You're always going to be rounded up to that nearest 1,000 gallons, or down to the nearest
So your
1,000.
dollars per usage, I get it.
Okay.
Okay, let me interject something here. I think Mr. Odom has another meeting at 3, is that right?
Yes, but we're good. Just go over here. Should be more fun.
All right. So you're okay?
We're good.
Okay. Well, let's move ahead. Are you ready for item 8, or do you have?
This is still number 7, and actually Chad's going to handle 8 for me in just a second.
Okay.
I just have a short couple of updates for you is all I have. And what I wanted to do was just give you an update on where we are with the Cooper rollout, give you a little bit of a background. Through the first half of October, we were going back through doing the configuration and functionality testing for the Cooper system. At the middle part of the month, around the 18th, we then shifted into user acceptance testing. All of the major showstoppers had been resolved at that time, so we went into what was called user acceptance testing, which carried us through the beginning of November. We moved into the production environment at the beginning of November. That will carry through until go live this Friday. We will, on Friday evening at 5 p.m., we will shut down the website, our IVR. We'll all be shut down for the system cutover. We anticipate that taking the majority of the night and early morning, Saturday night through Sunday. Our goal at this point will be to go live, have the system back up middle part of Sunday. So then at that point, the new website will be available for folks to make payments, look at their statement history, all that. The IVR will be up and running where they make online or IVR payments, that sort of thing. On Saturday, we will also have customer service reps in the office to take any phone calls. Saturday morning is typically pretty light load for customers calling in or using the web, so we don't anticipate a large amount of problem there, but we do have, we'll have customer service reps available until everything is up and running as normal. And then following go live, really until the beginning of January, we'll have support from Kubra, making sure that everything is functioning as it should be. We also have a few post go live activities that will need to be completed and cleaned up after that. What we've done from a media standpoint, I know Sunday there was an ad in the newspaper talking about what's coming, and then really beginning in earnest on Saturday. You'll see below we will have print media in the AJ, El Editor, Latino Lubbock until really early part of December. We'll have online presence explaining the changes on Lubbock Online, KCBD, Fox, everything Lubbock, and Telemundo. That'll go through the end of the year. And then we'll also have a good number of radio spots on about 8 different channels through the middle part of December, just to let our customers know kind of what's going on. Just some examples of that. These are the ads that will run starting after go live. The left one in the AJ, the right one in El Editor. So it's kind of explaining what's going on, directing customers to the new website, which, by the way, the website is live today. So if you go to cityoflubbockutilities.com, you'll see our new website. Right now, though, when you click the links that will take you to make a payment, it'll take you to our current LP&L site, but on Saturday, it'll link you up to the new Kubra payment site. The digital media, these are just some examples of some of the banners or items that you'll see online. Click on it to learn more, and it'll take you to our website. So those will be running a significant amount of exposure there through the month. I don't know if you had anything you wanted to add to that, Matt.
No, that's a good overview, unless y'all wanted me to dive in deeper, but that's pretty much the gist of it. We'll be covering all the paid, earned, and owned media space at the end of the year. And in terms of our own social media channels, what we run on Channel 2, we'll continue to roll stuff out as new items come on board, like the easy pay, stab and pay type stuff. Anytime a new item comes up, we'll just be continuing it on our own channels, not necessarily the paid media.
We also expect the middle part. Go ahead. Yes, sir.
Just, Dave, that email you sent that had a couple of links of the demos.
Right.
I might have overlooked it, but, well, first a question. However you've got your account set up, all that is transferred over. You don't, if you've got it set up for auto pay, you don't have to do it again, right?
That's right.
That is correct.
When, I probably overlooked it, but when I was looking at the new billing thing, I didn't see a real obvious prominent place where if you wanted to set up auto pay, if you didn't have it. You know, I was looking for a button, a click, or I could have overlooked something. But if somebody would check that, make
Yep.
sure.
There is it's what's called the dashboard. So when you log in and you'll go to, well, it'll be your dashboard. It'll have a little box that shows, you know, what your next payment is, and you can click a button there to make a payment. And to the right is all your 24 months of history. Then right below it are 4 or 5 different options. One of probably the second one I think is account notifications, and you click on it, and there's a lot of different options. You can turn on or off the e-bill, or you can set different settings for your account. So they'll be right below that.
Set up auto pay is kind of buried in that.
And it's on and it's specifically listed on the video. So when we highlighted that in the video that we have on our website that shows you, and it actually will show the button you click to move it from the print to the e-bill. So we specifically pointed that out through that video.
Pointed out how to set up auto pay.
Oh, on AutoPay, I'm sorry. I was e-bill. AutoPay is going to be in the same location on your dashboard, and you'll have options to set up the bank draft or the credit card. So we don't have a specific thing in the video. Roundabout, it talks about it, but it's pretty intuitive on setting up the AutoPay. You can put in you can set up multiple bank accounts, multiple credit cards.
Well, I just
and
didn't, I looked at what you sent out, Dave. I didn't see it being that obvious, but I could have overlooked it.
Okay, all right.
Mr. Owen, what did Cooper warn is the biggest, like, hassle or issue once this all transfers? Is there anything that, you know, they ran into in the past with stuff saying, hey, you ready for this, or it's pretty?
Yep. Jamie, you want to address that?
No, there really, sorry. There really wasn't any kind of warning.
It should be pretty smooth.
It was really just more about the customer communication, which is why we prepared the videos, the how-to videos, training up our CSRs, so when people did call in and have customers did have questions, we were able to answer appropriately. One of the really nice features that we have on here is the impersonate feature, where the CSRs can actually go into the website alongside of the customer without being able to see their personal identifying information, kind of help guide them through. So instead of trying to figure out where the customer is online and trying to explain where they need to go, they can impersonate the customer, see where they're stuck at, and then help guide them through. So it's really just an educational process, and the advertisement was the big portion that they recommended we do.
One other thing I thought I'd mention is the kiosks, which are a big part of this. They will not be on first thing Monday, but they'll be middle part of the week. Our installers will be here next week to get those put in. They're still going through the final testing. So those will be up and ready. Our drive-through kiosk will be later in the calendar year. We're still waiting on a delivery date for that. The outdoor kiosk is much different than the indoor, and so we're waiting on a final date for that. But all of that should be complete by the end of the calendar year. So we're very excited about it. You know, in all of our media, we're giving our phone number to call. You know, if they have any questions along the way. You know, for example, if they are having difficulty on setting up auto pay or any of that, you know, we're going to have CSRs available who've gone through training. They've gone through refresher training. They've gone through all sorts of different issues related to that to make the process smooth transition. So we think we're ready for. We anticipate an increase in call volume, and certainly we hope for an increase in our web activity as people hear about this and know that we're making some changes that we think are real positive.
Does our contract allow, like, they're getting the same question a whole lot? Like, I just use my auto pay. I can't find auto pay. How quickly can we respond and change that system? I mean, is it something that's going to take months or days?
Well, that's the one luxury we have. You know, a lot of information that we can put on our website we can change pretty quickly. We have, you know, a FAQ section. We've got a lot of stuff you can drill down into to get help, and we can add a lot of that on the fly. with this website. And Han's been real helpful, and as we've gone through and found things that, we've been beta testing this on all of us internally, and all the CSRs and different groups have been looking at things all from their own perspective. And so we've tried to catch everything, but I know we'll miss something along the way,
The
and
questions
so we
will
can add
prompt
it.
some things that probably,
Yeah,
we need to tweak that.
And we'll be able to track that kind of stuff, and we can add some more information on our website as we learn that maybe some areas we might have
Can you change
missed.
the actual method, say, for paying a bill if you see a need?
I think it's a base product, isn't it, for the most part, Jamie? Or, I mean, if you, do you have,
For the customer to change?
No, if the CSRs keep getting a bunch of questions, and we say, oh gosh, I wish we'd done this to the homepage of the building on the website, how quickly can we change that? We being LPNL. Do we have to rely on a vendor? Does it take a day, a week, months?
It would really depend on the specifics that needed to be changed. Some of the things we do have real flexibility, like Andy was referring to, and being able to change them on, the same day. Others would require some programming, which would require some testing on our end, so it'll take a little bit longer. It really just depends on what change needs to be
Well, I
made.
just don't want us to get real proud of being able to answer a question and find out, hey, we're answering the same question over and over. Maybe we can just fix it and eliminate that question. That's what.
Yeah.
Thank you.
any other questions on the Cooper rollout? I just had a couple other slides. One, just to give you an update on where we are on AMI, Advanced Metering Infrastructure. You recall, we issued our RFP back in April. Phase 1 of the evaluations, which really resulted in a short list, ended on latter part of June. We then moved into Phase 2 of the evaluations, which included the on-site demonstrations by the vendors, reference checks, and then site visits where our evaluation teams traveled to different locations to see the product in action. And all of those visits and meetings concluded near the end of October. We then moved into Phase 3, which was a notification of our final options that were selected by LPNL, which was in the middle part of October. Our best and final pricing was due back at November the 8th. The evaluation team met earlier today to identify the firm that we'll be negotiating with, and so that the negotiations are at this point will be beginning. And so at this point we'll be heading through the contract negotiation process, and then back ultimately for project authorization from the board. And it kind of depends on the vendor on the timeline of that, but we are progressing through this project.
Is this for software?
I'm sorry?
Is this for software only?
This is for the entire AMI product. It's going
Including
to,
the hardware?
yes, sir. It includes the meters as well. Yes, sir.
How many proposals did we get and how many?
We can't give out any numbers at this time, sir.
Yeah, until the
I'd be
RFP.
happy to share that information with you, but no information as far as numbers or names or anything like that can be given.
I was just,
I'd be happy to share that with you
I was just
afterwards.
going to ask how many we got.
Can't give any numbers out, sir.
Can't really talk about that.
No, sir.
We'll get to you all offline.
I'm just curious if we got a good response. I just wanted to.
We felt, we were very happy with the response we received on these
Oh,
RFPs.
do you know what he said, Felix?
I didn't give you any specific.
That sounds like 27 to me.
We were very pleased. We were very pleased.
No, I'm just curious.
It's a very competitive process.
Yeah.
The other topic is the CIS system, which includes our meter data management and mobile workforce management. Very similar process. Again, same date in April, we issued the RFP. Phase 1 of the evaluations concluded in July. Phase 2, again, is those on-site visits, reference checks, vendor fact-finding, concluded near the end of October. We're again in Phase 3 of the evaluation. The best and final was due a little bit earlier on November the 3rd. The evaluation team will meet actually tomorrow to identify the top proposer in that RFP, and then again, that'll begin the negotiation process for the contract, and again, bringing that back to you. And again, like on the other one, it really depends on who the vendor is, on how long. Each vendor seems to have a history of, depending on how long it takes to negotiate a contract, how many layers they have that we have to go through. And So we'll identify that as we clarify who that vendor is, and as we get a clear understanding of what the process going forward is on that. So kind of just let you know that we're moving along on this project. There's been an enormous amount of man hours. Deborah Ardeline and Todd Stoker are both here this week from TNG. They've been our consultants, have been very just invaluable throughout the whole process. This is what they do for a living. We don't, you typically only change a building system and implement AMI maybe once or maybe twice in your career, so this is one-off for us. But Deborah and her experience and expertise has been really, really invaluable, and could have done it as smoothly and seamlessly without their help. And so, and luckily Jamie, even though I say you only do this once in your career, she's already done all this in her career when she was at Burbank. So we have a lot of folks who've been through this stuff before that make it help us sleep a little bit better at night. But I just wanted to update y'all on where we are.
Just a curiosity question, do you have any experience on being on the vendor side of the table?
I have.
So before you were a consultant, then you've
Before I
been
was a
there,
consultant, I worked for a software company.
so you've been there, done that on the vendor side of the negotiation.
Absolutely. And I enjoy this like that.
Valuable information, valuable experience.
I've never been.
That's all I had. I just had some quick updates for you, unless y'all have more questions.
Thank you, Andy. Appreciate it. Mr. Kessler, point of order here. We go ahead and take item 8 and then skip down and do consent agenda. Can we come back to item 9 and possibly recess into exec?
Yes, sir.
Before we consider item 9?
Yes, sir, we can recess into executive session, we can post matters of
So we can finish it out in executive time.
So,
Can't vote the actual action items.
right.
All right.
Is that?
I'm good.
Plan?
Just asset liability.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and do item 8. Presentation, discussion of financial and capital statements, financing options, audits, and financial policies of Lubbock Fire and Light relating to debt issuance issues, reserve account funding, cost allocation, revenue expense projections, purchase price, cost recovery factor, customer metering, billing, and service issues. Mr. Sales.
All right. So I think I may have 5 slides for you, so we'll go through this pretty quick. Do what? I didn't hear what you said. All right, so this is our rate for the average residential customer with 1,000 kWh through the month of September, so we'll see that change in October. We layer on Excel, they're $4, just about $4 higher, and then our survey average is quite a bit cheaper, but most of that is in ERCOT, so that actually makes sense relative to what we have going on. Purchase power, we actually have some good news for the first time in a while. We're back within the bandwidth since middle of 2016, so over collected as anticipated in October, and so I guess if there's no questions on that.
What do you see going forward?
The way we set the rate was to be fully collected by the end of May, going into the summer. So
I'm on track right now.
yeah, right.
So ballpark, that puts us at under collected.
0.8-ish,
Okay.
somewhere in that range.
Plus the 3.5. It's about 4.3. On the total. We're talking
No, I think the total,
That's eating into the 3.5
Right.
already.
Okay.
When you go into the red, you're eating into more than the 3.5.
Right.
Going into our reserves. So
Okay.
we've been into our reserves by the 3.5 plus the amount that's been in the red. But
Right.
now we're just
Just a little.
2.8 million into our 3.5 million reserves.
Right.
Okay, gotcha. So that's a number on the balance sheet.
Yeah.
and there is no balance sheet
Right.
because we're in the middle of audit, so that's why this is going to go quick this month.
Right.
So here's our audit calendar. We're actually already working on audit, putting together work papers, writing as many of the footnotes as we can before they get here. And they will be here, the auditors will be here the Monday after Thanksgiving. They'll be here for 2 weeks. And so you can see the rest of the schedule there. we're not firm on the February dates yet, but we're looking at, and we have to coordinate it with the city and the audit committee, and so that's why it's not firm yet. But typically, we'll hold the finance subcommittee meeting with you all, and then the auditor will head over to City Hall and do the same meeting there, just on a bigger scale for the city. And
Hopefully we
then,
get the chair of the audit committee to cooperate.
yeah.
I'll do the best I can to get it.
Yeah. And then on the 20th, we'll present it at our regular meeting in February, and then it'll go to the council 2 days later. So,
I don't remember off the top of my head, what did we spend on our part of the audit? Approximately, rough ballpark.
I was thinking like 30.
Between 30 and 50,000.
I was thinking it was about 40.
I don't know exactly, I can't remember.
It's between 0 and 100.
A lot of man hours.
Yeah.
I think he's supposed to be at our A&I meeting tomorrow. Dave is, if I read that right.
Okay.
Maybe that's gonna be fun.
All right, so the only thing that I do have for you in terms of financials is the actual capital program. Not a whole lot's changed. We spent $1.4 million in CapEx in the month of September. Not a whole lot of big spending, but you can see over here the projects that we spent the most on were substation 69 and 115 kV. Some of the projects, which makes sense based on the projects that we're working on related to ERCOT. So that's all I had. Short and sweet today.
That's good. Thank you, Chad. All right, with the consent of the board, then, we would skip on down to the consent agenda, which item 10 is consider resolution authorizing the person to execute a purchase order, RFP 7142-17 EUA little I, as concerns line item 1 and 3 to Alltech Industries, Inc. As concerns line item 2 to Lubbock Truck Sales, Inc. And as concerns line item 4 to Terex Utilities, Inc. For LPL Fleet Aerial Devices, Utility Derrick Truck, Pressure Digger, and Chassis. Item 11, consider resolution authorizing the Director of Electric Utilities to execute public works contract RFP 7143-17 ELD with Interstate Electrical Contractors, Inc. for LPL Chalker Substation, 115 kV ring bus construction. Entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the consent.
Is there a second? Second by Ms. Henry. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Is it what?
It's a bucket truck.
Fleet bus truck. Yeah.
They can do it like a drone.
I think we had some discussion about these earlier, but all of those were issues that I think Mr. Conrad was wanting more data on.
I provided him some information. I think he was still planning on pulling them.
We got that now. So I guess what I'd like to do then is recess again into executive session for just a few minutes if I can find my paper.
We still had something to finish on item 4, I think, or did we finish?
Item 5. Well, we may have had some on 4, that's right. So we recess into executive session in accordance with Texas Government Code 551071, seeking advice and consultation with its attorneys, and Texas Government Code 551074 to deliberate appointments of public officers, electric utility board. We are in recess. And we'll come back into order in open session in order to take up item 9 on the open session agenda. Consider a resolution recommending to the City Council 2 appointments to the Electric Utility Board in accordance with Section 2.03.415E of the Code of Ordinances, City of Lubbock, Texas. Entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I would make a motion that we submit Mr. Robert Rodriguez and Ms. Gwen Stafford to the City Council for consideration to join the Electric Utility Board and defer
Any discussion on the recommendations? Okay. If there's no discussion, then all those in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, that's 5-0. And I believe that brings us to the end of the agenda for today. So we will be adjourned.